What's going on? This your boy Chris Simmons coming to you with another podcast episode. Man, this is gonna be a very special episode for y'all today. I just want to give y'all a little quick update. In terms of my co-host, Miss Tiffany Chanel cannot be on tonight. She had to take care of her son. Because usually we record episodes late at night. That's why sometimes if you watch the YouTube, you see it's dark. That's why, because her son is usually asleep at that time. But since I had to move it up a little earlier, she was like, well, I need to be able to watch my son, be able to, be there with him in case he needs anything. So I was like, okay, that's cool. So, she couldn't make it on, but she's going to be on in the future. She's going to continue to be on. It's not like she dropped off or nothing like that. I just want to make y'all aware that the reason you're probably not seeing her is because she had to take care of some business. Because it all happens to us. It happens to the best of us. So I wish her the best, and hopefully her son ain't giving her too much trouble. You know what I'm saying? Because I know how toddlers can be. She got I think she told me she had like a 4-year-old. So I know she talks about how they're pretty hectic. So you got to watch them real closely. So that's what's going on. But the reason I had to keep it at this time is because this is a very, very special episode. Uh, Two things. One, because this is the 50th episode that I have done. Man, let me tell you something. I did not see myself doing 50 of these. Like, if you would have asked me 2 years ago, would I be doing a podcast? I would have been like, nah, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't even really listen to podcasts. I didn't really know much of podcasts, but it's just amazing how God works, man. I started back in 2020. I was in the quarantine at home trying to figure out what do I do with my time. You know what I'm saying? And it just basically took off from there, man. And it's crazy how I almost stopped. I almost stopped at 15 episodes because I was looking back at my previous episodes, and I realized there was a gap between August and November. When I put out the 15th episode, there was a huge gap. And there was a time that I was lacking motivation to do these. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to do these anymore. I don't know if this is really going to go anywhere, but I'm so glad that I didn't stop. I kept going. And now 50 episodes later, here we are, man. So I'm just so excited because today we have a very, very special guest. I haven't had a guest on in a while. So I'm very excited for this one. We actually planned this in June. So that's why I didn't want to, switch it up or anything. I had to keep it at this time. So we actually had this planned in June. And I'm so glad that she still agreed to be able to come on this episode. So a little background about who this is. She is all the way in Sacramento, California, all the way on the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? West Coast, best coast, baby. I need to get back out there myself. So she's from Sacramento, like I said. I haven't been to Sacramento. I've been to California. I've been to Southern California, the LA. I've been to LA and I've been to San Diego, but have not been to Sacramento. Here it's pretty hot over there. I think it's like what? I think I checked the weather over there. It's like 100 degrees. So that's burning. So that's what it is. I think it's not as close to the water, so I think that's why it's hot. But anyway, like I said, all the way on the West Coast. She's a leadership and lifestyle coach slash entrepreneur. She also has a book on Amazon. From what I saw, she has the number 1 best-selling book, baby, The Art and Truth of Transformation for Women. So I recommend, if you want to check that out, go check it out. It's on Amazon. I didn't even know it was the best seller. I literally looked that up. I was like, wow, that's crazy. That is very good. That's very good. So it must be really good. I mean, I'm sure somebody's read it and they probably really liked it.
I hope
So
so.
you know what I'm saying? So hey, go check that out. And one other thing that I found interesting, something that I've always wanted to do, like, well, not always wanted to do, but like something I, really was interested in is that she has been on a TEDx talk. Okay. So that's something that I was like, wow, that's incredible, being on stage, talking in front of an audience, and I was like, dang, like that was awesome. And one thing that I found interesting about it was she talked about her recovery. Like it was interesting how she started. She said, "My name is so and so, and I'm an addict." I was like, oh damn, I'm like, this about to be deep because when you think of that, you thinking drugs, alcohol, but she was basically recovering from doing too much. You know what I'm saying? Like she was, had that. She was a recovering workaholic, and I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of us, have that similar, are in a similar stage where we feel like we work so much. So she, elaborated on her story. It was very impactful, very influential. So I definitely recommend y'all check that out when you can. But without further ado, let me introduce to y'all Miss Renee D. Oh, I messed it up. Is it
Dineen.
Dineen? I knew I had a feeling I was going. I even listen. I was so
When you
sorry, bro.
overthink
Like
it, it always gets a little muddled. Yeah, no
I was
problem.
so sorry. Like y'all, bro. Like I literally before the show, I asked her how to pronounce her last name, and literally I kept trying to say it over and over in my mind. And then when I finally got a chance to say it on
Funny.
camera, I was like, bro. But Miss Renee, how you doing today, girl? How you doing?
I'm good. Hi, everybody. And I didn't know it was your 50th show. That's exciting. Congratulations.
Yeah, no, it's came a long way, man. It's definitely came a long way. So it just happened to line up when you were about to come on. So it was wow, it was great, man. But I'm so glad that you're here
My honor,
today,
my
and
privilege.
I'm glad that you can make it. You know what I mean? I wish my co-host was here, but it's all good because the show must go on. You know what I'm saying? The show
That's right.
must go on. So, but anyway, I mean, it's let's see. Well, it's 7 o'clock now, so it's about 4:50. It's about 4 o'clock over there. I know you still got some of your day left. Uh,
I do. Yeah.
yeah.
And it is 100 degrees and super smoky.
Woo.
So we're moving into a fifth season here called fire season. So not
Oh no.
not the best, but hopefully it won't be too tragic this year.
Yeah, I heard about that. I heard y'all over there in Cali, y'all get wildfires. I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
crazy.
I mean, a mix of the drought and just any little disturbance to that brown, the beautiful California Golden Hills are actually just dead grass. So it can be more flammable than we would like it to be. But anyway, can't control everything.
Right, 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 right. Hey, I mean, at least one thing I know for sure. At least y'all don't get snow. I don't think. Do you get snow over there now, or do you?
Yeah, Sacramento is about an hour from the foothills, the Sierra Nevadas. So we're not far from snow, but no, we don't get snow here. It can get snow cold, like
Mhm.
high 20s in the winter, but in general, it's pretty temperate.
Got you, got you. Okay, okay, that's cool. That's cool. Like I said, I probably that's got to be another place on my list, Sacramento, because that's what I always say. Like with every guest that comes from a different location I've never been, my goal is to be able to at least make it out there. Like I know I've had a lot of guests on that were from New York, and I'm like, I've never been out there. Like the only place I've been to in New York was the airport. So I'm like, I
Well,
need.
I see you having a good time in New York, Chris. You'd love it. Yeah.
Oh, for real? Oh, you been to?
Yeah, many times. Yep.
Wow.
That's another side. I've travel is my like number one, I don't know, I guess you'd call it a hobby, a ritual. So the reason we booked this back in June is because I was taken off for 6 weeks just to put myself out in the world again and get a fresh perspective and kind of shake off a challenging, but in some ways exciting year, and a year that you made the most of by podcasting. So good for
Oh, for
you.
sure. Oh yeah, no, and we gonna do 50 more episodes. We gonna make it to 100.
You're hooked. You're hooked now.
Oh yeah, no, it's funny because I heard a statistic from somebody who I was working with. They said that the average podcast only lasts 6 episodes. So I'm
Wow.
doing pretty good. Like I was like, what? She's
You
like,
blew
yeah,
that metric out of the water.
you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm at I'm at 50. So it's like, man, I must be doing good because I didn't even know that until
I
like
didn't know
you
that
mentioned
either.
that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, man, it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing to still have that same energy. I think it's because sometimes people run out of ideas. You know what I'm saying? People don't have that same energy to do it anymore. But I'm glad that I didn't fall down all the way down. I'm glad that I still had some left to be able to continue to do this. So it was great. It was
That's
great.
great.
Uh,
Congratulations again.
Thank you. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and transition in today's topic. And today's topic is going to be about how to take control of your life and deciding to live on your own terms. I know that sounds simple, but but some people, when we talk about living on your own terms, we talking about, basically being your own boss, doing what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's hard. It's hard when you working, when you work 5, 6 days a week, you know what I'm saying? And people like literally telling you, you need to be here, you need to be there. You know what I'm saying? You feel like, you feel obligated to do what everybody else telling you to do. But in reality is, sometimes you lose sight of what you really want to do because you so focused on trying to do what everybody else doing. You know what I'm saying? But I
Yeah.
figured this would be a great topic to talk about. That's why I wanted to do this topic with the leadership and lifestyle coach, because she does specialize in two different things, but I wanted to focus on the lifestyle part. And I wanted to do this because in her TED talk, like I said earlier, she actually fell in that trap. She fell in that trap of being a workaholic, always constantly feeling like, I got to do this. I got to be here. I got to be there. I got to complete this, complete that. You know what I'm saying? So I figured this would be, a great person to be able to just share her experience on what it was like, in that moment when she was a workaholic, and how was she able to escape that and be able to live life on your own terms. So, Miss Renee, if you don't mind, if you want to just kind of just open up about, how you were able to, live life on your earned terms, and, just some ways on how you were able to do that, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Oh, well, let me give you the very short story of how I kind of came into my own acknowledgement of my addiction, which was more than just being a workaholic and sort of, obsessed at times and deeply attached to my identity at work. It really resulted in my inability to say no. It resulted in my inability to say yes to things and no to others that would keep my overall life more in balance, keep me present with the people I love and care about, and very fundamentally keep me healthy and well and available to the whole of my life. So I started my career in the Silicon Valley in the 90s, and hit the ground running. From day one, I was just on this intense, super enriching and meaningful career track. And being in the Silicon Valley and San Jose, the Bay Area, during the big first .com boom, it was addictive in and of itself, like from the work itself. And I'm an organizational psychologist, so really being in a field that was just being embraced, and really helping to shape that field in high tech and later in biotech, the global travel, the accolades that come with that, the financial rewards. So there was a lot of reinforcement for me being a workaholic, and as a result, really becoming a doing addict, or I've also called it an action junkie. And when you are stuck in a pattern of needing to chase that next doing fix, it is no different than any other addiction. It controls your life. It keeps you from owning what you said, kind of living a life of your choosing. You had mentioned when you reached out, hey, what do you think about this topic? For me, it wasn't so much that like other people expected it. And I definitely have a need in me for others' affirmation. Absolutely. To some degree, we all do. As human beings, we're wired to be seen, accepted, loved, cared for, etc. But it became I lost control of my, in many ways, emotional and mental ability to discern between what I should do and not do. I lost it. I just said, okay, yes, I'll just do it all. And what my wake up call was in 2012, 13, I had developed a tremor in my hand. I started to speak with a stutter. My doctor thought I had multiple sclerosis, and thankfully I did not, but basically it was stress. I just had completely activated my adrenal system. My nervous system was just whacked, and I was reacting. At the time I was, early 40s. So this was not okay. This was not good news. It was good news I didn't have MS, but it was not good news to accept that I had done this to myself, and I needed to find my way out. So it did result in me leaving my corporate identity and everything I knew and all the accolades that I knew I could get when I needed it. I knew how to chase that doing fix and keep myself satiated. So I left, And I had always thought I would go out on my own. I just didn't know when. But this really became my own kind of mental health and well-being, and my quality of my relationships really gave me that extra urgency to go out on my own. And thankfully, it's been wildly successful and enriching. I do not miss that world. I do not miss being addicted to that identity, that part of me that could never be satiated. And instead of working 60 or 70 hours a week, I work about 20, and I'm more fulfilled. My relationships are richer. I'm more present in my day-to-day life. I was a chronic insomniac. I battled that one. That one took me a good year to get out from underneath. So I'm still on the journey. I still say yes sometimes when I should say no. I still worry a lot about how I'm showing up in the world and if I'm doing enough. So I think it'll always be with me, but in general, I'm definitely living a life of my choosing, and I'm living on my own terms 95% of the time. So
Okay.
that's the short version.
Yeah. All right. So what does that look like? You know what I'm saying? So now that you got more time throughout the day, like what do you be doing? Because I tell people all the time, you get 24 hours in a day. And a lot
That's
of
right.
people think like,
Can't,
people say, I
can't
wish I
touch
had
it
more
left
time.
or right.
Right. And it's like people say, I wish I had more time to do this. It's like, what you mean? You got 24 hours. That's a lot of time. It's just a matter of what do you do with that time? You know what I'm saying? It's like, what do you
That's even interesting. I wish I had more time. I mean, just a small shift. How did I do that? And what does that look like? How can I create more? How can I create the time I need in order to do that? And it means stopping other things, honestly. Hopefully it doesn't mean getting less sleep. I mean, I literally used to say I'll sleep when I die. And I was like, isn't that funny? No, that's not funny. That's really a ridiculous thing to say. When you die, you're not sleeping, you're gone. So, what kind of life do you want to live? What kind of legacy do you want to leave? And is it yours? Or, you had mentioned like, for those people who are listening and are resonating with being a doing addict or just doing too much or over engineering, over efforting, overdoing, there are a variety of reasons to do that. My TED Talk goes into 5 different types of doers, but I'll park that for a moment. They can listen in on my TED Talk if that interests them. But we all are motivated to do for different reasons. And I think though, at some point you get to choose your path from here. You can't change it. For me, I couldn't undo what I had missed in my kids growing up. I couldn't undo the physical manifestation of my addiction and how that had impacted my life. What I could do is start to unravel and rework the path forward. And my business coach, I had a business coach last year, and she and I talked a lot about boundaries. And one of my boundaries was 20 hours a week. And she even had a hard time, like, why is that such a boundary for you? What if, and some weeks it's more than that. Like if I'm running a 3-day workshop or I'm traveling or whatever, sure. But in general, 20 hours. And I said, because that's my hard and fast. Time is the most precious gift I have. And I know that if I'm over 20 on a regular basis, I'm out of balance. I stop being able to choose for myself. I get myself wrapped up into more responsibility, more commitments, and less freedom. And I just turned 50 this year. I'm not willing to do that anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just not. I'm not willing to do it. I'm also not willing to be the kind of model I was leading from my first job, leading large groups of people. And I modeled my doing addiction, and I expected people to also do a lot, including my kids. And I can't undo that either, but I refuse to ever model that definition of success back to the people that I care about or the people that I influence. I was complicit for 20 years. I will never be complicit to that myth again.
Well, you say you work 20 hours a week. So how many days is that? Is that like 4 days?
Yeah, I mean 20 hours. So I mean, if I like track my time, and that's kind of my billable time. I mean, I don't like, this is not part of that 20 hours, right? I do podcasts, I write articles, my social media stuff. I don't count that in there because that's kind of creative. That's me finding my voice. That's me articulating my message, which is really around undoing your do crazy world. And so I think 20 hours is like, I'm on the hook. I made a commitment that involves somebody else, and I'm committed to getting that done.
Mm.
And I'm not going to do that more than 20 hours a week to somebody that isn't my immediate family. So what else do? I carpool. I cook, I make dinner, I go on girlfriend weekends, I go out to dinners, I walk my dog, I, do all these other things that enrich my life. I help my mom, I, help friends. I talk to people on the telephone for like an hour at a time. I mean, I'm not kidding. It may sound so silly, but for those of you listening, when is the last time that random friend called you and you just sat on the phone for an hour in the middle of your day without panicking?
Yesterday. Literally, that was me yesterday. I'm so, man, that's
I
crazy.
know.
We talk about that. That was me yesterday. And somebody who I was good friends with, like, we haven't talked in a minute. And then she called me and I was like, hey, what's good? She down there in Miami doing her thing. I was like, yo, it was good to hear from you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's
So
like,
you get it. You're like, oh, would you rather have that be your day, or would you rather be locked into like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. Now I'm up till midnight tonight working. You know what I mean? Like that shouldn't be a trade-off.
yeah,
Some jobs demand it. Here's the other thing I want to say. I'm not naive. I was, 25 years in executive roles in biotech and high tech. Some jobs require you to work 70, 80 hours a week. And if that lights you up, if that keeps you still healthy, if that still allows you to live life on your terms, if that's how you want to express your energy in the world, awesome. For those of you that are doing that and are suffering, rethink it. You always have a choice. You just do. You always have a choice. You're smart, capable humans. You don't have to suffer.
that's facts though. If you work at 70, 80 hours a week, I'm hoping it's something you like to do, but
That's
chances
right.
are it's
I hope you
probably
are
not.
like living your purpose to the nth degree.
That's what I mean. Like if you really doing that, you have to be in love with what you do. And that's the problem with most people is that they're doing it because they feel like it's a requirement.
That's
You know what
right.
I'm
We're
saying? They feel
trapped.
like
We're trapped.
exactly. And it's like, bro, you can always do something else. You can always, be able to leave whatever it is you were doing and tap into your gift. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why, like I always talk about the 1%, the top 1%, the top 1% that we see. You may think, oh, how are they living this phenomenal life that we see on TV? It's because they tapped into their gift. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? If you learn how to tap into your gift and do what God has called you, you could be living that phenomenal life. But
Absolutely.
if you're doing something that you are not passionate about, that doesn't give you energy, that is not, getting you up out of bed and it's like, let's go, get up out of there, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't feel like, oh, it's got to be. I mean, maybe it's for the money. Maybe like, oh, I need this money now. But it's like, bro, you can come up with $1 million idea and make that. You know what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
may not. It's not gonna happen like instantly. You know what I'm saying? But I would say this, if you're waiting for that opportunity, I would say like, do what you do during the day, but then you gotta find that time to be able to make whatever it is you want happen. You know what I'm saying? Like if you can put as much energy into doing something for somebody else, you can put just as much energy into doing something for yourself. That's how I see it.
And I think that I love that. And I couldn't agree more. And I also think that there's a mental model around that that says I'm worthy of prosperity. I am worthy of following my passion. I am fully capable to live my purpose, and instead of like I'm a victim to my circumstances, or I'm a prisoner to my work, or I have too many obligations, like if those thoughts are running through your head, and I would just question them. Maybe some of them are real. I don't want to say that, sometimes we are trapped when we are a prisoner to something or someone, but for the most part, those are stories we tell ourselves that keep us there. And maybe it feels safer because it's the known thing. But eventually it catches up to you. And if you're a man or woman of faith, like you and I are, I mean, I needed to get still enough and quiet enough and create enough um, just stillness and spaciousness in my life to hear his call. And I have been blessed with two very distinct callings from who I believe was God. One was around some personal work I needed to do around healing some trauma around my childhood and relationship with my mother. And the second was around this idea of my TED Talk, which is Authentic in Action, which is the practice of slowing down and being with and letting go of our bias for action. And, it's found in those like very small moments when we can, and yet rarely do make choices that align who we are with what we do. And you can't do that when you're running. I mean, just like there's no place for any spiritual voice to enter. It's like we close off access to that part of us that in a quieter, more spacious life we would hear. At least that was true for me. So that was the other, like, I would say, blessing of slowing down was, oh, I have another voice, a wiser voice, a more authentic, truer voice. I am more clear than ever, what God wants for me and how to live my purpose without sacrificing the whole of my life. Because he doesn't want you to do that. He just doesn't. He wants you to be prosperous. He wants you to be happy. He wants you to be joyful. He wants you to be present in your life and to love like crazy. So if anything's in your way of those things, get them out immediately.
Amen. Amen. Now, what I find interesting about where we are emails back and forth is that you have these 10 ways to live your life of your choosing. Now, it's different for everybody, but I found yours unique. Now, you did 10, but I said, okay, let's pick the top 3 to 5. You know what I'm saying? Because I found these very interesting, and I feel like we can, have a discussion on these. So, if you want to, just inform the audience of like, how did you do it? How did you be able to, finally just say enough is enough? Let me live my life. You know what I'm saying? What are some of these ways that you can probably share with some audience who are probably thinking, well, how do I, how do I get out of that trap? How do I, live this, phenomenal lifestyle where I can live on my own terms? So
you're choosing. Yeah, it was interesting because you came back with the topic and I was like, oh, I just developed a keynote where I closed with 10 ways to live a life of your choosing. So the precursor to that was around the topic of confidence and authenticity. And it got me really thinking. So, you and I are like, there's a bigger plan, right? So this conversation is not happenstance. And someone out there listening, I hope will be well served on a deep spiritual level by this. But so what are the most important ones for me? So there are 10. I'm happy if your audience wants it, we can shoot those out. But one of the ones that I really had to embrace was this idea of making my own decisions, even when they're hard. I am a wife, I am a daughter, I have 2 children. I was the breadwinner. I have financial responsibilities. I have high expectations for the quality of my life. So I was in some days burdened with those responsibilities, in other ways, blessed. So I needed to learn how to trust myself to make the decision, particularly the one we've already discussed, which is to leave my corporate life and everything I'd known and all the stability that life brought me and all the joy and the relationships and the trips and the travel, all of that, and trust myself that there was another plan for me, that there was another chapter to write and that I couldn't write that chapter staying. And for many years, I've, consulted mentors or coaches or played or toyed with the idea of leaving. And, I even remember my neighbor was like, are you crazy? You have this great job and you seem to love it. And by the way, I did love my job. It just started to take more than it gave. So that's one, is that you don't need the consultation of anyone. And for those of you that don't have a spiritual life, that's okay too. Like you have an inner guidance system. You have a more authentic, wiser voice that is not your inner critic, which by the way, is in place to keep you small and safe and serves a purpose, but is not a truth teller. And so you have to start to discern between the critic, the one who says, who are you to think that you can work 20 hours a week and still make the amount of money that you want to live, right? Or who are you to think that you're going to be able to have your voice heard by millions instead of thousands and have that matter, right? Like all these stories, that's your critic. The wiser voice is, you know who you are, and you've been living your life for this greater purpose. Now is the time, and so that's one. Second one for me, and it has to do with this sense that I had a super active brain, a head, but I also had a heart and I also had a gut, a belly center. And so knowing how to quiet my mind enough where I could hear my heart's call and I could hear my instinct, my intuition. In a corporate setting, we get buried and rewarded for using our heads. And I had just was on a coaching call this morning, and I said to her, you have short circuited your heart and your belly center for so long that your head is like, no problem, I will take over. And she is finally like, I was like, put a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly, because we need to signal your head that it's not needed right now, right? We have its input. That's a given. It's always available. But how do you turn it down? Because the louder this is, the quieter this is, and the quieter the belly gets. So that's a second one. Know when to let go and when to hold on. I was super attached. I got attached. I mean, I remember I worked in a site for several years, and he said, Renee, your passion is unbelievable, but sometimes it's too much. And I was like, how could passion be too much, right? I mean, we know, because people who are like super passionate can also be pushy and not let go of things, and maybe even get controlling. So I know I did all those things. And I think there was a time when I was like, oh, I can't want it more for them than they want it for themselves. And I say that with my clients now, like, you can tell me you want something, but if you're not doing the work to get it, I can't do it for you. So I have to release my attachment and just trust the process and hold people fully capable of chasing the outcome they want. And I'm just there to guide, to be a companion, and to support. And I'm like that with my own life, my kids' life, etc. Hardest with my kids. So how many is that? 3? Maybe just one more. And this is, for me, I devalued sleep for so long. I was a massive insomniac. And so say yes to sleep and no to whatever's in the way of it. I don't know a single human being, and I have met thousands, and I've worked with thousands all over the world. I've done work in 70 countries, traveled everywhere. Sleep is absolutely integral. Now, some of you need 5 or 6, others need 8 or 9. That's fine, but none of you need 3 or 4. None of you are at your best. There's no possible way that you can renourish your body and your mind and create all the circuitry that needs to be created when we sleep on 3 or 4 hours. It's scientifically impossible. And you can tell yourself that, and you can lie to yourself. But I promise you, if you start getting more sleep, that is probably the biggest physical change you will see in your life. And it will serve you mentally, emotionally. You will be more present. You will be more patient. You will be smarter, more clever, more creative, more fun, everything. So that's a good one to close on. And without sleep, you're a victim to whatever comes your way, because you will be triggered. You will be impatient. You will have regret. You will be like, oh, why did I do that? Or how did I miss that? Or whatever. Or why do I feel so cruddy? Or, just being tired. For those parents out there, like, your kids need your alertness. They need your presence. You send a message every time you're tuned out, checked out. And a lot of reasons we are either stress or we're just not sleeping enough. I love my sleep now.
It's funny how you talk about sleep, is that I think a few episodes ago I had a doctor on the show. Her name was Dr. Nafisa, and I remember she was talking about getting sleep. I was asking her, like, okay, so what are some critical things to be able to do to take care of your mental health? And she was like, sleep. And me, I thought, I was like, being impressive, like, I don't need sleep. I can sleep whenever I want. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm young, like I'm in my 20s, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, hey, I can sleep, wake up whenever I want. Like, I don't need that. But she was like, you doing your body disservice. You need sleep, man. Like, I recommend, like, she was talking about how you need to get on a sleep schedule. You know what I'm saying? And I tried it. She was like, you need to turn off all your stuff before an hour before you go to bed. No electronics, no TV, none of that. Just sit, in a room, where you don't have any like distractions, and you just be able to basically just sit there, maybe read a book, brush your teeth, do your nightly routine. I tried it, man, and it worked. Like, literally, like, when I woke up, like, I was not groggy, because sometimes when you wake up before you want to, you feel groggy. You're like Miss Renee said, you're not at your best. I felt that, man. I felt
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And I mean, I've had people like, I don't even want to look at the sleep research. We know now more information than we do. I have a second TED Talk. So my first TED Talk is Authentic Inaction, Undoing the Doing in a Do Crazy World. My second one is Confessions of an Insomniac. It is, for those of you who suffer from insomnia, I see you. I'm so sorry. It's brutal. And it just is a life stealer. And so I use that as an excuse. I'm an insomniac, right? I'm genetically predisposed. My mother is, my father is, my daughter now is, right? Like, so is that an excuse? So no, it just is going to mean your doctor said, like, that's discipline. And we get to choose. Like, some of us are more disciplined than others, and that's, given. Like, tell me what to do and I'll do it. And others have to like believe it first and then try it and then experiment and have some failures and then come back again. And so that was more my path. But when I finally decided to kick my life as an insomniac, it took me a good year to unravel all the bad habits that I had accumulated and the mental stories I told myself about how unimportant sleep was. So I've kicked that one. I mean, it doesn't mean that I'm still don't fight it. It's not like I just drift off to, gentle sleep every night. But I don't need to in order to dedicate myself to that health practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I definitely feel you on that. I definitely feel you because, like you said, like sometimes like people don't get the sleep they want. It's because they're worrying about stuff. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? It's like that's why I use downtime. You know what I'm saying? That way there's no notifications that can come in. You know what I'm saying? If you got a boss that be emailing you, you got your coworkers, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you need to take time for you, man. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
Well,
Like
that's a beautiful way to say it. Yeah, it's an opportunity to prioritize yourself.
yeah,
100%. Yeah,
yeah,
I
no,
love that.
especially when you're on vacation. I was on vacation last month. And I remember like my dad was talking to me, he was like, hey man, man, these people at work, bro, like they just keep texting me and calling me. I'm like, you just I told him, I said, you
Did
need
you
to put
really? That
your
is awesome.
I was like, you need to put your phone on airplane mode. Do
Oh,
not have to
look at, can
call
you
you.
imagine? I mean, like
Oh,
a child giving their father that advice. That's just awesome.
you know
I
what I'm
love
saying? I
that.
told my dad, I said, Dad, man, like put your stuff on airplane mode, man. Like don't let them come at you. You already told him. Like, my dad already told him. He said, I'm going on vacation. If you need me, call me when I get back. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? But it's crazy how people still feel like they want to come in and have you come work and stuff. It's like, bro, you need that time. That's important.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You
And
need that
and
time.
very few of us, and if it's one of you, have jobs like, okay, you deliver babies, you're a vet, you're a trauma doctor, like those people are on call. That's the life they choose, right? But for the rest of us, take a break, holiday, vacation.
Dude, that's important. Like
Take
literally take your vacations, man. Take your vacations. Cause I'm telling you, you're not missing anything. Like my uncle told me this. My uncle, when I was on vacation visiting my uncle was like, yeah, man, like I remember there was this one year I did not take vacation. I regretted it because I thought that I was missing out on something. I thought that if I didn't get,
Mhm.
this stuff done, then I was gonna miss out. But in reality, he was saying like, you know what, work is gonna continue to keep going with or without you. There's nothing that you're gonna miss out on at work
Yeah.
because if you don't take that time to yourself, nobody else will. Nobody's really looking out for you like you looking after yourself, man. Because like your boss or whoever you working for, they ain't gonna really be, too concerned about your health. If you working and you making the money, that's all they care about. You know what I'm saying? They ain't really looking after you. Now, unless you got a really, really good boss who's caring. But the reality is, if they see you working and you doing them a favor, hey, they ain't gonna see nothing wrong with it, bro. They ain't gonna be mad that you didn't take your vacation. They ain't gonna feel bad that you didn't take your vacation because you chose to do that. That was your choice. You didn't do it. So it's like you can't
Yeah.
expect people to be like, oh well, he should do this for me because I didn't do it. And it's like, no, it's not gonna be like that.
Yeah,
You
most
got
people
you.
aren't thinking. You're right. And so maybe that is like live a life of your choosing is, no one's going to set your boundaries for you. It'd be awesome if we were all that altruistic and aware and present to the needs of other people. But ultimately, work-life balance is not something that is, a formula that someone writes for you. That's something you got to write for yourself. And no one is going to make your life easier on purpose. Like they're just, particularly in the working world, that's just not. Maybe one day that will be some, more true, but it's not true today. So you got to set those boundaries yourself. We teach people how to treat us, and our time is one of those precious gifts that we need to protect and own. And on some days, yes, you will be at someone else's beck and call, but on most days you should be on your own beck and call. Yeah.
Facts. Yeah, no, I make it a priority every day to do what I want to do. You know what
That's
I'm
right.
saying? My thing is
Well, and do what you want to do, not because it's selfish. I mean, I think
right.
that's their
It's
kind of mantra, but do what you want to do because that's what you're designed to do. Like, if not you, then who? And you have no business doing things that other people should be doing, or saying yes to things you don't want to do. I mean, there's just that lacks integrity and it lacks authenticity. And so, it's a lose-lose.
right, right. No, I took a break today. I went outside and sat outside, and I was like, that's what I do. I do it every day. I recommend y'all do this, man. If y'all, I say, if you guys are working, like if you guys, are about to hit a burnout, just stop. Stop. Like for me, I go outside, eat my lunch out there, and I'm just chilling, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm just chilling. That's what I like. I found because I did this during the pandemic, and I still do it today. Like, I always love sitting outside when it's nice out, and just, no, I don't have no phone. Like, I'm not on my phone. I'm just sitting out there chilling.
Yeah, I
Cause
love that. I have this totally like sweet picture of you. You might even be taking off your sneakers and putting them in the grass,
yeah,
taking your hat off and letting the sun shine on you.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah. You already know I'm gonna take care of myself, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna take my breaks. I'm not, what I'm saying. That's how you gotta do it, man. You gotta
Yeah.
take breaks when you need them, man. Like,
That's a
and
good practice for disinfecting your life as well. Like, get out in nature, take a breath of fresh air, chill out.
do some yoga, man. I try to put my audience on to doing some yoga. Yo-
Yeah.
yoga is phenomenal.
Yeah. It's tough. It's a great workout
Exactly. No, I mean it definitely
for the mind
really.
and the body.
No, it definitely like kind of allows you to relax your mind. When they play the nice music in that boy. They play the classical music, and you just like, oh, what I'm saying? Like you
Oh, that's
forget
great.
everything that you had going on that week. Like, what I'm saying? It's just a great way to just, man, relax.
That's
Relax.
great. I love hearing that of someone in their 20s, like who
Right.
gets that the power of that practice of just like chilling out, doing nothing, art of doing nothing. So, funny story, my one of my sorority sisters had gotten me a book in college, and maybe it was when we were graduating anyway, and it was The Art of Doing Nothing. Those things I was like, art of doing nothing. I mean, does she know me at all? That sounds awful, right?
Mhm.
So I just put it on my coffee table. And then here I am, right? 20 years later. I'm like, oh, she saw it before I did. Of course. Yes. In the nothingness, in the stillness, in the distance between the next thing, we stay in our practice of living a life of our choosing. When we pack the moments too tightly, there's no room to choose. So I love that.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I know we're about to come to closing the show, but I just wanted to like go back to what she said about me taking, enjoying my life right now. Cause I know at my age, in my age group, right, being in my 20s, a lot of us are worried about, what we're gonna do in the future. What is our career gonna look like? Are we gonna find the right person? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of, stress at that age. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're at that transition to where what are we going to look like in the next 10 years? And, for me, if I was speaking to, other people in my age group, man, just chill out, man. Stop
Mhm.
filling your head with worries. Don't feel like you got to do everything in one day. You know what I'm saying? Don't feel that way, because you have to be able to take control of what you got to do throughout, you know, every single day that comes. And what I've learned this. This is why, some people are like, man, how do you have time to, talk to your friends? How you got time to go, go here with your friends, or, be able to sit outside or read this book and do all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? People are like, how do you got so much time? It's because I know how to utilize it. I know how to use all the minutes. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Mhm.
So it's just like, people in my age group, this is like, listen, you like literally last year, it was last year during the pandemic when I was watching the news a lot. I don't know why I was doing that. but I had to cut it off.
Stressful. Why were any of us doing
I had to cut off at a certain point, but I was seeing what was happening last year, and it made me realize I'm so thankful to be here, man.
that?
You know what I'm saying? I'm so thankful
Filled with gratitude.
to still be here. I'm so glad I made it through that period, man, because there was somebody out there that didn't make it. And
Mm-hmm.
it just taught me a lot about how I can't fulfill every day being mad. I can't fulfill every day being bogged down, feeling negative, feeling sour. I said, you know what? I'm gonna go out every day that I live. I'm gonna jump out of bed and do and just live my life, man. Because that's what I've learned.
That's
That's
so
what I've learned
awesome.
through. That's what I learned,
Super
last
inspired.
year. It changed my whole perspective, man. So it's like for those of y'all who feel like every day is a bad day, bro, come on now. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta, stop and be like, look, I'm still here today, man. I'm breathing. Like I get another opportunity to live my life, man. That's how I
Mm,
look at it every single day, man. You know
that's
what
awesome
I'm saying? That's why I'm so passionate.
for you. Good for
So
you.
I
You got
recommend.
it. That's it. If there's one formula, it's gratitude and to just appreciate each day and not rush it. My best boss was my first boss, and she said, Renee, you can have it all, just not at the same time. And I was like 24, right out of grad school. I'm like, yeah, well, I can, right? Like I'll get whatever. Yeah, I want it all, and I'll eat it all now. And it's like, of course she was right, and of course it took me years to finally come into that truth for myself. But here's the other: you don't want it all at the same time. You can't savor it. Can't be grateful for drowning in all of it. And so just slow down, choose wisely. Live a life of your making. For those of you in your 20s, 30s wondering, I love what you said about your person coming along. Here's the worst decision you'll ever make is to rush that one. My dad said the most important decision you make is who you marry. And I'm like, yeah, he's probably right on that. He also was like, what did he say to me? He's like, don't get married till you're 30. I'm like, what? And I didn't. I got married at 30. At the time, I'm like, I'll get married when I'm ready to get married. I got married at 30. But, I just think, you gotta figure out who you are first. Take your time, see what lights you up, like anchor yourself enough to be first and foremost, worthy of your own life you're living. And then, the right person will show up, the right job shows up. That's just the universe wants good things for you. The universe wants good things for you.
Thanks. That's awesome. And we'll go ahead and end on that, man. You know what I'm saying? Man, I'm so glad that Miss Renee was able to come on once again to today's episode, man. And I always tell my guests that this does not have to be the last time we ever communicate. You are welcome anytime to come back. We can continue the conversation. You know what I'm saying? We can start a series. We can do whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like your house,
You're a
mi,
blessing.
mi casa, su casa
That's
on the
awesome.
Zoom. On the Zoom. Now, hopefully, we get to do stuff in person. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Because
coming up.
I know me and Miss Tiffany have been talking about taking this podcast on the road. So
Fun.
like go out, speak in different communities. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully get a studio out in Dallas. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Big Texas, big
I
Texas.
see, I see that for you. You're a manifester. You're a man of faith and of gratitude, and you're in touch with your soul's desire. I don't have any doubt that'll come true for you.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. But anyway,
All right.
that's a wrap. But before we get off, I want y'all to go ahead and follow Miss Renee on Instagram at Renee M
Dineen.
Dineen. I was spell it out. I was trying to spell it out. Dineen. Dineen. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that. So follow her on Instagram once again. It's at Renee M Dineen. Oh Lord.
Dineen.
Dineen. I'm gonna just spell your name,
I
okay?
told I told my husband I should have just kept my name. It was Manchester. No one ever met that.
I'm so man. This is probably the worst I've ever butchered a person's last name. I got the first name though.
It's too many N's and E's. I get it. It's fine. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, at Renee M. Dineen, and I post daily free content on leadership and
Yeah.
health and well-being. So
Oh yeah, no, definitely go follow her. You can check out her link tree. She got a bunch of stuff in here. One thing that she does have is her podcast, or not her podcast, her TED talk, her TEDx talk. You want to go check that out. Um, go to her Instagram, click a link tree, it'll be right there. You know what I'm saying?
Perfect. Thanks,
Yeah.
Chris.
But yeah, and then also reminder, follow us on Instagram at Disinfecting Your Life. No space, no capitals. You get all the updates, all the latest and greatest releases, and you can also find the links to our channels, and you can find the links to our merch. Displayed right here. Step towards your purpose.
Ooh,
Step
nice.
towards
I
your
was
purpose.
ordering one of those.
Oh yeah, we gonna get you one. Hey, if you, hey, Miss Renee, if you want one of these, is on. You can go ahead on my Instagram, and you can click the link. And there's in my link tree is merch. It just says merch. You can get you one. You
All
know,
right, cool.
get you one. But
It's
yeah,
awesome.
these
I
are
will
all
wear it
links.
proudly.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we gonna represent the brand, baby. We gonna represent the brand. But yes, that was a great show. It's a wrap. But like I said, this your boy Chris Simmons, alongside guest Miss Renee. We are out. Take care, y'all. Have a blessed day. Peace.
Bye.